Oh, that was great. I love that.
Yeah, that is so good.
That was good. Are you recording here?
Oh, yeah, I've been recording.
Oh, good. That's the intro to our podcast. Hello.
I'm going to clap again just so we know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Now clap for the whole podcast.
Oh, my God.
Today we're going to talk about the Gray Sisters. I feel like I had something to say.
Hello.
I got something to say.
No, that's not it. I got nothing. How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, in the past 3 days, in this one city, it has snowed 3 inches, rained until it flooded, and then there was a hailstorm. So
Holy
I'm done.
crap.
I'm
It'd
done.
be bad up here, but
Also, it was 30 degrees and then went to like 65
Today it was
degrees.
65, and then yesterday it was 35. Today it was 65, and tomorrow it's going to go back down to lower 40s. And all week we have a chance of wintry mix. So I would just like to say,
I don't know if anybody knows this, but the weather in Indiana sucks.
I'm moving. Let's go to Texas.
Yeah, where?
Judy lives in Dallas.
Well, I want to go to Austin.
Well, then why'd you ask me where?
Well, because I want to see if our ideas would line up.
I'll do Austin.
Okay, yeah, that'll be cool.
All
That's
right.
That's where South by Southwest is, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to South by Southwest.
We don't have to go, but like, man, I just hear Austin's like super cool, man.
I have
Keep
a-
Austin weird.
I have an old coworker who was just at South by Southwest.
Oh,
His
well,
company paid for him to go.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So let's all play that Bowling for Soup song and move to Texas.
I know one Bowling for Soup song.
Everybody knows 1985, but nobody knows Come Back to Texas. I will sing it for you.
Nobody.
She said she
aren't they like
needed a
one-hit wonder?
break, a little time to think. It's all about this guy who's with a girl, and they live in Texas, but then she breaks up with him so that she can go to Cleveland with some guy named Leland that she met at the bank. And then he wants her to
First
come
of
back
all,
home.
Who would move anywhere for a guy named Leland?
Who would move to Cleveland for any reason whatsoever? Sorry, Cleveland listeners. No, I'm not. Move. You guys are probably really unhappy there.
I have no
Didn't
idea
you
what's
live in
going
Cleveland,
on.
Or you live close to Cleveland?
Who lives close to Cleveland?
Didn't you? You lived in Ohio,
Yeah, I
didn't
lived in
you?
Medina.
Yeah.
It was
Medina.
It was all kinds of not fun. Welcome.
But enough about where
to
we want to live
Tudor.
and where we don't want to live. Welcome to Tudor. I hardly know her, and this is our show.
They did not live in Cleveland. Tudor fact. Henry
The
VIII
Cleveland Tudors. That sounds like a really trashy reality show.
fact. Henry VIII fact. Henry VIII did not live in Cleveland. That one
Wait,
is true.
Is that a fact? Because we gotta have fake facts. So, totally real fact: Henry VIII was born in Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio. It was called the Land of Cleve for a long time, and that
That's
was
where Anne of Cleves was
that
born.
was where
Cleveland.
Anne of Cleves was born. She's actually
This
Anne
is
of
Cleve's land.
Anne of Cleves Land.
Yes, potential wife. What do you have to bring me?
I've got you
Well,
Lake.
I own all of Cleveland.
I got you Lake Erie and all of the trash that comes with it.
I bring you a magical place known as Cedar Point.
That's Sandusky.
Yeah, that was the Earl of Sandusky who would have brought that to him.
Wasn't he the guy who got in trouble with? Wasn't he the coach who got in trouble for doing inappropriate things
That's
to children?
Jerry Sandusky, and we don't want to talk about him on this fun show.
Because we're the woke ass podcast.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about that for like a week and giggling to myself.
it was great. I'm glad that joke went over.
You're a good one.
Anyway, what are we talking about today, Emily?
So I had no ideas this afternoon. By the way, listeners, it's Tuesday night. And this afternoon I was sitting during my lunch break pondering. And I said to Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Brian. But they're called sad meals. No one will buy them.
And then I got hungry because I'm on a diet. And I started thinking about how every food is a sad meal when you're on a diet. No. So I was thinking about topics and I just couldn't think of any. But I wanted to cover something with Elizabeth I, something in her reign, because we haven't really done much with her reign. So I'm kind of refocusing from Henry VIII onto his children. So I sent out a tweet to our lovely, lovely listeners asking for suggestions, and we got some baller ideas. Love these ideas. But one of the ideas that we're covering tonight is her Elizabeth I's relationship and treatment of the Grey sisters. So are you boys ready?
Sure.
Let's get this party started.
That worked because my roommate just held up a note saying, "Do you want dinner?" And I said, "Sure to you." The same time she held up the note, so it all worked out.
What are you going to have for dinner?
I don't know.
Probably something delicious.
It's going to be a mystery. Anyway.
Something deep fried and delicious and cheesy. The first day of diet sucks. So, reminder, the Grey sisters. Let's go back up the family tree. So here's the story of a lovely lady named Mary Tudor. And she married a man with 3 boys of his own. That's the song, right? The Brady Bunch. Anyway,
Yeah.
she married Charles Brandon. And so Charles Brandon was the brother-in-law to the king, and Mary was the sister to the king, and things were great. And then they had a daughter named Frances. They had a couple of children, but only Frances and her sister survived. Frances was the elder. She's the more important one at this point. And anybody with older siblings knows the older siblings tend to be the more important ones. So
Yes.
Frances, middle child syndrome, Frances married a gentleman named Henry Grey, and they proceeded to have 3 daughters. It was the time of women. Like in the early to mid 1500s, there was just, in fact, the entirety of the 1500s, just women ruled everything. You could not have sons, just women. So they had 3 daughters. Now let's play a game called Guess Their Names. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, let's play a
Probably.
game called Guess Their Names.
We need to have like a jingle or something for this because it comes up so often.
Guess their names. No, it's got to be something tutory. Guess their names. Guess their names.
We can't always just go back to green sleeves. Anyway.
We don't fucking know
Mary
anything else.
All we
and-
have.
What are their
Mary
names?
and Elizabeth.
What was the first one?
Mary,
You got that one.
Anne,
No.
Elizabeth.
No.
Jane.
Yes.
Ooh.
One more, guys.
Francine.
No.
Ladasha.
God damn it, you got it. I didn't think you would. Come on, guys. You know this one.
Elizabeth.
We already said Elizabeth.
Mary. Jane. Catherine.
Yay!
I was just going to say it as Jeff said it.
Okay, so he's got their older daughter, the eldest Jane, then there's Catherine, then there's Mary. Also, I need somebody who's versed in titles to let me know. Francis Brandon married Henry Grey, and he became the first Earl of Suffolk. How did that happen? Because Charles Brandon was... I'm sorry, not the first Earl. He was the Duke of Suffolk. How did he become the first Duke of Suffolk when Charles Brandon was already the Duke of Suffolk? Does it depend on how the title is passed? So if it's father to son to father to son, then it's like first, second, third, fourth, fifth Duke of Suffolk. And then when it goes to like the daughter's husband, because it goes from father to son-in-law, does it restart? Someone explain. Steve, who
I
play?
have no clue.
I wasn't asking you guys. I didn't think you... Garrett's got a secret interest in understanding English heritage.
You actually find out that I know everything about the Tudors and this entire podcast. I'm just playing dumb this whole time. I'm like the Kaiser Soze of this podcast.
You're just pandering to me to make me feel better about my life.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And then what did Henry do?
Tell me.
Wow, Emily. I did not see that coming. Wink.
So we already did an episode about Lady Jane Grey. It was the same episode as Kingnapping. But I want to do a recap. So she was the eldest. She was born in the same month as Edward, her cousin, son of Jane Seymour before she croaked. Possibly as late as 1536, or possibly late 1536, maybe early 1537. Beep. Stop talking. All right, podcast's done. So
If
she.
you want to listen to more of the podcast, please pay $5. We would never do that.
Please insert quarters
Your
into
free
your
trial
computer.
is over. So all of the Grey daughters received really good educations. They learned Latin, Greek, Hebrew, and Jane was a committed Protestant. So, as I said in the previous episode, she had a very standard upbringing, but she complained that it was very harsh. To today's standards, they are harsh, but for that time period, it was pretty normal. They'd like pinch her if she was doing something bad, or, just you're not tender towards your children in the 1530s. So at one point, she went to live with Thomas Seymour and Catherine Parr. Henry VIII died in 1547. And his wife was like, that was cool. I'm going to marry someone I love now, and married Thomas Seymour. Simultaneously, Henry's daughter Elizabeth was living with them. So these two cousins, technically first cousins once removed. They were just chilling out and hanging. Didn't last very long, though, because then Catherine died in childbirth, and Seymour was arrested right after that. So...
What was he arrested for again?
Trying to marry Elizabeth.
Gotcha.
Being a douche canoe. So then in 1553, she was married to Guildford Dudley, and I know you guys remember that name because it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Edward VI died that same year, and he named Jane as his heir, not his sister Mary, which Henry VIII had previously said, if and when you die and you have no heir, it goes to the Mary. So, because Edward named Jane his successor, she was queen for a grand total of 9 days. Then Mary rolled into town, and everyone was like, just kidding, Mary's actually queen. And whereas Jane had been residing in the Tower as a royal residence, she was then residing in the Tower as a prisoner. Things were looking good.
Oh, cruel fate.
Womp womp. So she was charged with high treason because she tried to take the crown. That's definitely treason. Henry VIII could do that, and it'd be cool. We wouldn't look down on him for that. And she was deemed guilty, and so she would be beheaded or burned at the stake. Mary got to choose. Mary chose to spare her until Wyatt's Rebellion happened. So Wyatt's Rebellion, maybe I should do an episode about Wyatt's Rebellion. Mary was going to marry Philip of Spain, and not a lot of people in the kingdom liked that. They didn't like Philip. They didn't like the Inquisition. They didn't want to deal with that shit. So Wyatt's Rebellion broke out. Jane was implicated in it. So was Elizabeth. And I just was listening to the Queens of England podcast today. Anne of Cleves was implicated in it too. I did not know that. She was somehow caught up in the mayhem of Wyatt and his rebellion. So Jane and Elizabeth, well, Jane was already in the Tower. Elizabeth was also put in the Tower. So just for a second, imagine that you're Elizabeth and your cousin is in the Tower for displacing your sister. And you're like, okay, yes, she did something bad, but that's family. We don't really behead family, do we? If you're a Tudor, you do. So,
Right.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, honey, you should know better.
Oh, honey. So
That's cute.
So Jane was executed, and that was for a rebellion that she had nothing to do with, to put her on the throne. And Elizabeth was implicated in the same way. So Elizabeth was probably shitting her pants. Not literally, they didn't wear pants. Shitting her skirts. But luckily, no evidence was actually found
That she shit herself?
that she shit herself. But she was beheaded. Alternate history. No evidence was found that she was actually involved. So, thus ends the life of Lady Jane Grey. But there's more. But wait, there's more. Then comes along her sister Catherine. So, at the same time Jane was marrying Guildford, literally the same day, her sister Catherine married a boy named Henry Lord Herbert. And I'm pretty sure it's just Henry, comma, Lord Herbert. But they didn't have a comma in the thing I was using as my source for this. So his middle name could be Lord, in which case he's probably a douche canoe, just like that asshole who married the Kardashian and now calls himself Lord. What, Disick?
Kanye?
Scott.
Oh. Calls himself Lord?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
I really hope I'm wrong because then I won't know this, but I don't think I'm wrong about that. Anyway, he was the Earl of Pembroke.
I do like the idea of Kanye calling himself Lord, though.
No, he's king. He's Kanye the Baith. Come on.
You're right.
So she was married to the heir of the Earl of Pembroke, and she was 12 years old. Yay, weddings. Let me just say, it would suck to share a wedding day with your sister. I'm just going to say it. So, she lived with Henry as a 12-year-old bride. And then when Jane lost her throne, that was in 1553, and the same year Jane was queen for like 9 days. But after Jane lost her throne, the Earl of Pembroke, the father of the Henry Lord Herbert, was like, we're out, and he annulled his son's marriage to Catherine. So his son kind of got away. No, not entangled with the mess. Upon Jane being, while Jane was in the Tower, she sent Catherine a letter saying to hold on to your faith and trust in God. So Catherine had
Hold on to your faith.
That was said by
Sam Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. Hold on to your faith with a cigarette in his mouth.
Hold on to your faith.
And then, okay. So Catherine was a Protestant as well, but in order to get in good with Mary, who had just beheaded her sister, she was like, I'm totally Catholic now. Just give me that yummy communion bread. I'm Catholic. And she actually later on during Elizabeth's reign told the Spanish ambassador she would not be changing her faith. She was a Catholic. Which, good for her. She's not a good time Catholic. She's just Catholic.
Fair weather Catholic. You creaster.
I'm barely even a creaster. So Catherine was reconciled with Queen Mary, and that was all nice. And she actually could have been Mary's heir if Mary refused to accept Elizabeth as her what she saw as her illegitimate sister Elizabeth as her heir. But whatever. It didn't last long because Mary died. And then Elizabeth became queen. Elizabeth did not like Catherine. Don't know why, but she demoted her. Like, that was her first act. Came into the palace, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Strolling through, talking about new decorations. Looked at her cousin Catherine and said, "You're demoted."
This has got to go.
Hate this thing. Ma'am, that's your cousin. Hate it. Hate. Let me guess. You have a really good personality. So, then, do you guys remember Edward Seymour, Jane Seymour's big brother?
No, but please enlighten me.
Edward Seymour was Jane Seymour's big brother.
Oh, cool.
He had probably multiple children, but the only ones we care about right now are a son named Edward and a daughter named Jane. That took me 5 minutes of very confused Googling to understand what I was reading. So, Edward, little Ed, fell in love with Catherine, and it was adorable, except Catherine was of the royal blood, and she couldn't marry without permission. Didn't stop her. She got married in secret in 1560. Edward's sister Jane was there, and she and the priest were the only witnesses to this secret marriage. Jane died of tuberculosis in 1561. Simultaneously, Edward was traveling. And so they thought she was pregnant before he left. But Edward was like, no, don't worry, babe. I got you. And he wrote down a will saying if anything should happen to me, Catherine is my wife and she gets everything, and so does the baby. She's probably
My wife. Sorry.
My wife. And the marriage remained a secret for a little while. In fact, long enough that she was 8 months pregnant before it came out. So when she was 8 months pregnant, she realized she probably needs to tell someone. It's a little suspicious when you're giving birth and you're not married. So she went to Elizabeth's friend, Bess of Hardwick. Was like, please help me. Talk to your bestie. And Bess of Hardwick was like, fuck off. You're going to get me in trouble. Like that kid that cheats on you in class and then you get in trouble.
Hey, help me cover up my pregnancy. No, shut up.
We're going to get detention. So her next. What
are you two talking about over there? Nothing.
Nothing. No pregnancy. So her next option was to go to her brother-in-law and Elizabeth's bestie, Robert Dudley. She was like, maybe he can help me out. So in the middle of the fucking night, an 8-month pregnant woman was in the room of Robert Dudley, who also had connecting rooms to Queen Elizabeth. He told her to get the fuck out and then told Elizabeth everything the next morning. Elizabeth wasn't happy.
What a tattletale.
I know. But Elizabeth had not given her consent, and she didn't know about it. She had also been planning on marrying her cousin Catherine to a Scottish earl in order to create an alliance. She also didn't like her husband. And also Catherine, a potential heir and claimant to the throne, was pregnant with another potential claimant to the throne. Elizabeth didn't need that shit in her life. So she said, thanks a lot. Oh, and also simultaneously, some jerk named John Hales wrote a book to say Catherine's claim to the throne was better than Elizabeth's. So Elizabeth was like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here. And she sent them both to the Tower.
Elizabeth's got a lot of nerve telling people how to live their lives when she ain't even married. She ain't even have kids.
This sounds like a Maury episode. When Edward got back from his travels, he was also put up in the Tower. Not a great end to a road trip. And for good measure, Bess of Hardwick was also stuck up there. I wonder if she's related to Chris Hardwick. That's the way it works, right? So
she had a show back in the day called Talking Tutors. I am Bess Hardwick, and she was insufferable to listen to.
It was also Talking Dead, though. Like, let's be serious.
Yeah.
Same title.
They're talking about who was beheaded that week.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It was crazy.
So, God, that was a good impression.
Thank you.
So, Edward and Catherine were in the Tower together, but Lieutenant Dan / Edward of the Tower, it's called Lieutenant of the Tower, he apparently loved Nicholas Sparks' novels and was a real romantic at heart, so he kept letting them meet in private, which is the opposite of what they wanted to happen. So
he's just an old softy.
He's such a softy. So
I can't stop true love.
She gave birth to her first son, Edward, in the Tower. But then because they were secretly meeting, she got pregnant again and had a second son. Now, I would like to use this as evidence for anybody who ever tells me to fucking relax in order to get pregnant. She was probably a little bit more stressed out than I was, and this bitch got pregnant. So fuck you. FYI.
Maybe she wasn't all that stressed. She was still getting laid.
She was so relaxed. Yes, getting laid is the most relaxing thing to happen.
Yeah, you're right. It's very stressful.
It's a lot of exercise. Anyway. So when she got pregnant with her second kid, Elizabeth was really pissed. I'm sorry.
Wait until the third one came along.
That was a dangling modifier, and I'm not okay with it. So when Catherine got pregnant with her second kid, Elizabeth was really pissed.
Okay.
So she pulled Seymour from jail, fined him £15,000 on 3 charges. One of them was deflowering a virgin of the royal blood. That is a quote.
Wait,
So she also set up an
She was
investigation.
already pregnant, though, wasn't she?
Well, yeah, but he's still gonna get fined for impregnating her.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So Elizabeth, meanwhile, set up an investigation to determine if the marriage was valid. Detective Benson and Special Agent Scully, not Sully. He's a
like
monster.
Benson and what? What show are we referencing here?
2 shows, but I accidentally fucked up the reference to the second show. I'm tired.
X-Files SVU? Oh, holy shit, I'd watch that. Alien and ghost sex crimes? Holy shit. Emily, that's $1 million idea.
You're fucking welcome.
yeah.
What? Go find that guy. What? Wolf? Something? Wolf something?
Dick Wolf.
Dick
Oh
Wolf.
my god, that works even better.
So she set up her people to investigate it, and they're like, it looks pretty legal. I can't find anything that says this marriage didn't have, it looked pretty legal. And she was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to pretend it doesn't happen. Stay in the tower. So they were locked away a little bit longer. But so I was writing all this down. Can you imagine this shit happening with the current royal family? Like, Prince Harry secretly marries Meghan Markle before she's given approval, so the Queen locks them both away in the tower. Anyway.
And then she has another kid.
So then in 1563, Catherine was moved from being in the tower. Actually, they all were moved from being in the tower to being under house arrest. So Catherine and her younger son went to live with her uncle John Grey, and Edward and his eldest son went to live with his mother. I'm sure that wasn't embarrassing at all. Elizabeth still refused to acknowledge their marriage, and poor Catherine went into a very deep depression and stopped eating, and at age 28 she died. Probably from not eating, but somebody suggested maybe tuberculosis.
I thought you were going to say a broken heart. I was going to tell you to get the hell out of here.
I mean, she stopped eating because of a broken heart. The experts
Well,
agree.
there you go. Then Revenge of the Sith is actually plausible.
You're breaking my heart, Annie. So after she died, Edward was slowly allowed to come back to court, which kind of pissed me off. And he proceeded to have 2 more secret marriages. Like, he just doesn't fucking learn his lesson. And
He's
then,
like, man, this is great. It worked out for me the first time.
And then their grandson, I think his name was William, he married, in secret, another claimant to the throne, Arbella Stewart.
We gotta stop doing this.
Whackity schmackity doo. Speaking of let's stop having secret marriages, let's move on to Mary, the youngest.
She would never do anything wrong.
Never. So Mary was born in 1545. During the Grey family wedding palooza of 1533, she was
I was
betrothed
there.
to a distant cousin, Arthur Grey. So that's pretty cool. She wouldn't have had to change her last name.
Convenient.
Convenient.
She can keep all the towels.
Man, now I'm thinking of...
If only Henry VIII had just married all Catherines.
Yeah, you save so much money.
He is king, but he is a cheapskate. But you said wedding palooza, and now I'm thinking of just, like, the tossing of the garter, like... They're just shooting them out in the crowd like a T-shirt cannon.
Fuck,
Like,
we're
that
redoing
sounds
our wedding and we're
amazing.
getting
Can
a
you guys
cannon.
get married again?
No, back then it's actually a literal cannon.
Some poor
Holy
schmoes.
shit, that's great.
People in the first row, you will get shrapnel. So Mary, poor Mary, was described as little, crook-backed, ugly, and basically, not my words, a dwarf.
A major uggo.
Major Poor Major Uggo.
You said not your words, a dork?
Dwarf. Little person.
Oh, I thought you said a dork. I was like, they call people dorks back then? That's great.
Just imagine Henry writing the letter to King Francis. You're such a fucking dork. Nerd.
And I want to call ye A dog.
No, thee. Or nay, thee. Damn it.
So Mary was engaged or betrothed during the Great Gray Family Wedding Palooza, 1533. But after the Beheaded Palooza in 1534, their betrothed. I'm sorry, not 1530. Fuck. 1553. 1553 was the family wedding palooza. 1554 was the Beheaded Palooza. And then her betrothal was dissolved, whatever you want to call it. So she was no longer betrothed, which was good because she was like 9. In 1555, her father, who was also beheaded with Jane. So in 1555, her mother remarried. And 4 years later, she died, and her husband got almost everything. So poor, 19-year-old Mary was left unmarried and had a very tiny inheritance of 20 pounds a year. However, Elizabeth apparently liked this Gray sister, and she made her a maid of honor and gave her 80 pounds a year. So that was good. Things were going swell. She could have just lived her life. But no, she wanted to keep up the tradition of secret family weddings. So, instead of being smart and seeking permission to get married, she decided to keep going with these. Really, I like these ballsy women. They're just like, fuck the police.
Let's get married to everyone.
They invented the quickie marriage.
Man, they didn't have Vegas back then either.
I know. So
They actually invented Vegas.
in 1560,
They invented Vegas.
Henry VIII fact.
And the thing is, no one knew about it because everything stayed there.
Ooh, that's why it's the best kept
That's-
secret.
That's so good.
Anyway, in 1565, she married Elizabeth's Sergeant Porter, Thomas Keyes, in secret. This is also, I would like to also remind you that Robert Dudley secretly married Lettice Knollys. So Elizabeth's court was just rife with secret marriages.
It's just like, what the fuck is going on in my
The
court?
thing is,
Everybody's married to everybody.
part of me wonders if she was just this bitter old harpy who wouldn't give anybody permission.
No wonder she never married.
Well, she never wanted to, but
'Cause
part of
everyone
me
else
is
was
like,
getting married. There was no one else for her to marry.
Yeah, that's what she would have said. Yeah, I don't want to get married. That's totally it. Right?
She didn't want to be.
I imagine her just like getting pissed at everyone just getting secret married and her just like just squirting them with a spray bottle or something. Like, get stop.
she was. No, but I wonder if Elizabeth refused to allow people to get married just because she didn't want to be the only single person there. She was like, well, if I'm going to be fucking single, so are all of you. She's awesome. But one thing Mary did learn was that she needed more witnesses than her sister's secret marriage. So she had 3 cousins.
And who are the priests clearing all these secret marriages?
Look, let's be serious. Priests are probably the best secret keepers. We have to go to them for confession.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Please marry me.
There's just like a secret
You
house.
legally have to do this in secret because we're in a confessional.
It's like a brothel except for priests who do
It's okay,
secret
my
marriages.
child. Just slip a 20 under the window.
I'll take a crisp 20. So
I'll take a quick quib.
I'll take a $5. That's all the British slang I know, except fanny pack. Fanny means vagina.
Yeah, it's packed.
Do. Yeah, if you say that you fell in your fanny in the UK, it's way different.
It really is. Wait, there was another thing. There's a thumbtack under my fanny. No, there was something that had to be changed. What was it? I was reading an IMDb fact, and in London there was a.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about. There's
Bender.
Oh, okay. We were watching. God forgive us. We were watching Avatar: The Last Airbender,
The movie.
the movie,
Oh, why?
because
Why?
I thought it would be fun to make fun of like the happening, but it was really just depressing, and I instantly regretted it.
First of all, if you're gonna make fun of any movie, I gotta be there.
Okay, well, you'll be there next time.
Like that was the problem. I wasn't there.
I don't think so, Garrett. That was really bad. It was so bad there wasn't even anything to make fun of.
You just felt sad for it.
Yeah, and annoyed that it exists. But anyway,
It's like a car wreck full of puppies.
in British, it really was. In British slang, a bender is slang for a gay man. So whenever they said lines like "Watch out, he's bending" or "Watch out, he's a bender," so that worked great.
But in the UK, the movie is famous in gay circles.
Yes, I did know that.
They play it in all the clubs.
all the secret clubs. Anyway, back to the Tudors.
Yeah.
So Mary had more witnesses. She had
I thought you were gonna say there was a thing with like Futurama.
No, sorry. She had
So in Futurama, did they just think he's gay? Anyway.
she had 3 cousins, a friend, and 2 daughters of Lady Stafford. Lady Stafford was Mary Boleyn's widower's second wife. Fun fact. But she had 2 of her daughters there, so she had a good amount of witnesses. Here is a description of Keyes. He was from a minor family, more than 2 times her age, and a widower with 6 or 7 children, plus he was about 7 feet tall.
Ooh.
She was a dwarf. He was 7
Major
feet
dork.
tall. That was probably awkward.
Every time I used to kiss her, I used to like squat down.
But they desperately loved each other. And that's all that matters. Unless you're Queen Elizabeth. A month later, it was discovered that they were married. And Cecil wrote, "Here is an unhappy chance and monstrous." So he was not happy with it. Keyes was locked in Fleet Prison. And Mary was sent to multiple country houses for house arrest. One of them included her step-grandmother, Charles Brandon's second wife, Catherine. 5 years later, Keyes was finally released. He asked if he could retire to the country with his wife. Elizabeth said, "Fuck you, no." And he died a year later.
Of a broken heart?
He probably died from all of the diseases he got in Fleet Prison.
Also, yes.
So then when Catherine died, the middle sister, Mary would have been next in line for the throne. And so in 1573, she was freed. She was set up with a small household and was actually named a maid of honor again. So that was really nice. Meanwhile,
Always
Liz
a
was...
bridesmaid, never a bride.
Meanwhile, Elizabeth was busy locking up her cousins from the other side of the family, Mary Queen of Scots.
Hey, I know her.
She probably has super awkward family reunions.
Never mind the squirt bottle. She had a goddamn super soaker.
Yeah, I know. So, April 1578, Mary fell ill, and she died on 4/20. So everyone,
Blaze it.
let's blaze it for Mary Gray.
Light one up for her.
And that's...
Was that you hitting a bong?
No, that's Jeff pretending.
That's what it sounded
Isn't
like.
he a good audio pretender? And that is the Gray sisters. You just sound like you're slurping.
I can't do the bong noise. I wish I could because it's such a good noise.
Jeff, teach everyone how to do the bong noise. You guys were
First,
really...
get a bong.
There's like 3 lying around this house. Not mine.
But don't go into places and ask for a bong. They want you to call it a bubbler.
It's for
Man,
medicinal use. I got glaucoma.
Tobacco use only. Wink.
yeah, right. Anyway, guys, that's it.
All right. The sad life of all these sisters and getting married and
Yes.
They had a
Tudor
very gray, depressing life.
is so gray. Whackity schmackity doo. So, guys, I sent out a hypothetical tweet at the end of last week asking if anybody would like, if we made T-shirts or something else, would anybody like them? And we got a resounding yes from Twitter.
but it was weird. They just wanted Jeff's face. I mean, Emily and I are the face
Yeah.
of the show, but
Yeah.
like no one's ever seen Jeff's face.
Jeff's got a glorious face.
They've seen it. What are you talking about?
Je-
Yeah, it was
Yeah, they
photoshopped
have, I
once
know.
as Nick. They've seen
Jeff's a
Nick
handsome
Cage.
dude.
We had it from when we were at the Renaissance Fair. We had
Yeah.
one with me and you.
I know. That's a
That was
joke.
like the one
That
handsome
joke.
photo of me.
one handsome
Jeff,
photo.
there are
Jeff,
too many handsome photos of you, and film evidence. If you've ever seen The Wicker Man or Face Off, or Jeff looks a lot like Nick Cage, kind of.
But if anybody, let me know if you guys would be interested in something like T-shirts or bags or something like that. Like, I'm kind of floating the idea out there.
We got a lot of really good T-shirt ideas.
We have some good T-shirt ideas from our Twitter friends.
My vote goes for just keep it simple. That classic painting of Henry, but with the shutter shades.
With the shutter
Henry
shades.
the Baith.
Henry the
Yeah,
Baith.
I think Henry the Baith would probably be the first one. We did get requests for one that says fucking Cromwell.
Man, I'm glad that caught on. That's good.
Yeah. And then another recommendation that I really liked was somebody wants a shirt that says Team Catherine. So I think it'd be fun to make. Oh, and it says it was Team Catherine here today, Aragon tomorrow from our episode title. So I think that'd be kind of fun to do with the wives.
That's cute.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. So
I've never had merch.
neither have I, and we might not, but
Yeah, we got to do still some research on where to go and how to
this
have it
is
all done.
literally just the idea
And how
phase,
to like
guys.
make it so people can actually buy it
Let
and
me
order
know.
Because I know for us
Yeah.
it's a lot of international people too, so that's a big thing for us.
Well, actually, one of our listeners suggested doing small pins.
Yeah,
We
that-
For
could do some small
international?
stuff, like maybe the logo or just, like Henry the Baith's face.
Yeah,
Like on a pin or
that'd be
something, or
fucking great.
like a rocker patch for your biker jackets.
That'd be so funny. Let us know if you're interested. I kind of want to make one for myself. I want a tote bag that actually says Henry the Baith. I'm dreaming of a tote bag that says Henry the Baith.
I mean, and if we do this and we order a whole bunch of shirts and no one ever buys any, then at least I've got shirts for the rest of my life.
Forever. And I really don't want to make the prices very high. Like I'd try and do it for like $15 or less. And
You said 50?
15.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, that.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of that. That'd be
yeah.
cool.
And until then, follow us on Twitter at Tudor Know Her and check us out on Facebook at Tudor I Hardly Know Her.
I mean, if you want, I know, Facebook
Also,
problems, and whatnot.
Guys, what the fuck? How did we get to 400 likes already?
That's so weird, and we're even going past 400 likes. It's crazy.
I'm amazed.
We're not even doing anything like advertising or Facebook advertising at all, or
It's just word of mouth, and
Yeah.
you guys telling your friends, "Hey, oh my God, you would love this show," and it's great. It's awesome. 400 people like us.
Yep, I'm happy.
I mean, there's more to success in what we do with the show than just we have 400 likes, cool. Like that could mean everything. That could mean nothing, but it looks cool to us and we like it.
I am just very appreciative that we have such awesome people to connect with. Guess what? One of
What?
our new listeners is from Indiana. Indy, specifically.
oh wow,
Yeah. So
Weird.
it's weird. It's weirder, I think, than having international listeners is having a listener in our own city.
so when we do a live show, we'll have at least one person there.
I expected that more actually, and I don't know why. Maybe
Probably
of
because-
how algorithms worked or
I don't
things
know.
like that. But
Anyway, guys, that wraps it up, right?
yeah.
Yep.
Hey, if you guys have any questions or comments or want to write into the show, and we might read something at the end. I'd like to start doing that. I know we've called out for it before, but I don't think we got too much of a response. Let's try again. If you have any questions or things you'd like to ask on the show.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking we should do another questions episode. Let me know what you think.
I don't know about a whole episode for it, but just
Yeah.
maybe a little segment.
Send us questions and I'll answer them on the show. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your episode suggestions, by the way. I wrote those down, and so I think we'll be set for a little while.
Yeah, thanks. Emily texted me earlier and was like, "Hey, what should we do the show about?" And I was like, "I don't know. Here's some ideas." And she's like, "Cool. I'm not going to go with any of those."
I liked all of the ideas.
I thought that first one was pretty good.
We'll do that next week. We just did a lot of
Ooh, okay.
event ideas recently, or event episodes. We needed a people.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like I engage more with the theme and event episodes, but no, this one I felt pretty good about.
I've been pretty happy.
Yeah.
So that's it, right? Right.
I think that's the show, I guess.
Until next time.
Until next time,
Divorced, beheaded,
died.
died.
Divorced,
Divorced, beheaded,
beheaded,
survived.
survived.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.